I started fly fishing in the 1990s, and so to learn about new gear, techniques, and destinations, I relied on the 3 or 4 magazines I was subscribing to get that information. Well, as time and media kind of moved on, I had a dwindling stack of magazines every month, with one exception. Since the 1990s, I have received Trout Magazine, the quarterly publication of Trout Unlimited, with consistency. There's a big stack in a box over in my closet. The writing is really, really good, and there's a couple of segments and a couple of features that I look forward to every new issue. However, there was one article that appeared for about 25 years that was some of the best writing you'd ever find in Trout Magazine and some of the best writing that you'd find in fly fishing writing as a whole during that period. There's a collection of those articles that appears in one bound volume, and we'll talk about that book today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. One of the very first books I talked about on this YouTube book review series was the late Dr. Robert Behnke's Trout and Salmon of North America. Now, he was the world's foremost ichthyologist when it came to salmonids, trout and salmon, and this book was effectively the popular level communication of a lot of his life's work. It's a wonderful resource, but it is a dense book, not the kind of thing that you're going to sit down and read cover to cover. I mean, you can be into trout ecology, biology, life cycle, conservation, and this book is a wonderful resource, but it's not casual reading. This book about trout, the best of Robert Behnke from Trout Magazine, is that kind of book. You can pick it up and just go through chapter by chapter by chapter. It is a much more casual read because it was designed for anyone and everyone to pick up and read one of these articles in Trout Magazine. And this is a compilation of a number of those articles from 1983 to 2006. Now, one of the major kind of themes of a lot of these articles is species or strain profiles, particular populations of fish. And the science was just getting to a place in the 80s where they could really do in-depth profiles and analyses of these different populations to distinguish what made one kind of fish in one watershed genetically distinct from another kind of fish in another watershed. So you get a lot of those, whether it be for cutthroat trout in the Rockies, rainbow trout out west, and then brookies here on the East Coast. You see all of that in here. He then talks about a number of other things, whether it be hatchery practices or tailwater adaptations that trout seem to have, coastal fish and how they move from freshwater to saltwater. Are fish smaller today than they were in the past? How did brown trout get to the United States? There are so many different topics that he talks about in these articles, but again, they take the scientific research, they take his experience, they take his mind for a historical perspective on all these topics, combines them in a more short form article for a real nice, pleasant read where you're also learning quite a bit while you're being entertained. And it's not just entertainment. There's a real passion that comes through in these articles. And Dr. Behnke was passionate not just about trout, not just about conservation, but about getting other people excited and encouraged to take on this torch and carry it forward. This was kind of his life's work, and this is the thing that he was really wanting to communicate to people. I had the privilege of spending some good time with Dr. Behnke in the last few years of his life, as he was one of the keynote speakers for a fly fishing and conservation youth camp that I was one of the directors of. And one of the last emails that he and I exchanged back and forth, it was actually right before I left that camp to move up here to New England, was about a presentation he was putting together, a slideshow, actual slides, not PowerPoint, about his trips to Kamchatka in Siberia, the species he's encountered, the adventures that he required to get there, the cultures and the people that he met. And he was so enthusiastic about this, and he was so excited about sharing it with these teenagers and just giving them this perspective of fly fishing being a cultural, scientific, and personal adventure. And there's fish that kind of are at the center of all of it. That's the kind of guy he was, just really enthusiastic about sharing his love for fish. And you're going to get that in this book. So if you have it, what's your favorite article? What do you think people should jump to and read this very first article about red band trout or about a different species of cutthroat trout that had been discovered? Let me know in the comments below. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.